Hi everyone, welcome back to Next Generation. The other week I went on my Instagram and I asked you guys if you had any questions for me, and so today is going to be devoted to answering one of those very questions. So let's get into the video and then I'll tell you what that question is. Let's go. So the question is advice for getting closer to God in a relationship. So I have a few points here. My first point is that is a wonderful question, and the fact that you're even asking that is so amazing, because I know when I was in high school and I was dating, I was certainly not thinking about that as much as I maybe could have. It's so wonderful that you're even thinking about how your relationship can draw you closer to God and how you can draw that other person closer to God too. That's really awesome. So one of my points that I really want to delve into is about praying together. So some people have mixed opinions on this, but personally I believe that praying together is an amazing opportunity to grow closer to God in your relationship. The way that you can do that can be, maybe it's just speaking what's on your heart in prayer. So enter into prayer with the sign of the cross, and then just say what's on your heart to God, but with this other person, and you can join together. Another option is to say maybe a decade of the Rosary, or a decade of the Divine Mercy Chaplet. Another great way to pray together that I personally love is consecrating yourself to a saint or to a particular devotion. One of the reasons that I love consecration so much is that you're able to learn with this other person and you're able to have great conversations. You're able to enter into this type of prayer together and learn about this type of prayer together. So I think that's really beautiful to do that. Another option of praying together is going to prayer events together. So that might be going to weekly mass together, going to adoration together, or it could even be like a praise and worship night that is held in your diocese. Those are just some of those beautiful ways that I personally think that praying together can really spiritually draw you guys close together in a relationship. My next point for getting closer to God in a relationship is all about your personal prayer. So this is really important. If you want to enter into prayer with your other person, your boyfriend or girlfriend that you're dating, or even just the friendship, to be honest, this can apply to anyone. You really need to have your own personal prayer life. And I guess part of that is also bringing the other person that you're dating or you're in a friendship with to prayer and ask God for the wisdom to say and do the right things. And that is just something that is so powerful, and it helps us realize that in fact always we need to turn to God and be like, hey, what do I do? And help me to say the right things. Ask the Holy Spirit to guide your words and your actions, and it will truly do wonders for your relationship. It'll also help you to see things more clearly. So spending lots of time on that, I'd say minimum half an hour per day. Maybe it can be spliced up, so maybe 15 minutes morning, 15 minutes night, but all up, as long as you're spending that good quality time with God. For sure do more than what I just said, but it's all about having a good own relationship with God, and that will really affect your own relationship in dating. So my next point is about family time. One of the most beautiful things about Catholic families is how we try to do family prayers. I know that for some of us, it might not always be set in stone, and sometimes, you know, we have nights where we don't do family prayers, or maybe there's been seasons for your family in different ways that things have happened. There's no perfect family out there, so first of all, just a little disclaimer. But even if you guys have a thing once a year, or you have a thing every single night, that's beautiful. But share that with your person that you're dating, share that with your boyfriend, or share that with your girlfriend. And I think it's also just an amazing opportunity to get to know how this other person was brought up and how they learnt about prayer from a young age, because that family prayer will have definitely affected their personal prayer. So a great way, especially if you're dating someone seriously, spend time with their families in family prayer. So let's go on to the next step. Okay, so the next very important point is to do the right thing with the person that you're dating. So when you're living a lifestyle and you're often in the state of grace, you're gonna find your relationship is so much better. You're gonna start to see some amazing fruits that God is gracing your relationship with. How to be in the state of grace, you may ask? It is difficult, and we're all sinners, all human beings, we're all sinners, but we're all striving for sainthood. Part of being a human being is to aim to be in a state of grace as much of the time as possible. So this means when you do make a mistake with the person that you're dating, or even personally by yourself, to bring that to confession and bring that to God and have a real act of contrition, real desire to change your life around and to start doing the right thing. Another aspect to living in a state of grace in a relationship is to make sure that you let the other person know. Don't just head on over to confession, especially if it's to do with the other person. Don't just head on over there without having the intention of talking to them, or even talking to that person before you go, because I think communication is so important. So as long as you're not leading the other person into temptation, or as long as you're striving not to do that, as long as you're striving not to have lustful thoughts or be lustful, as long as you're striving to live that saintly life that God has called you to be, then your relationship will totally reach another level of beauty, and you'll also be able to hear God so much clearer. So if He's telling you this is not the guy for you, or if He's telling you as a guy that you should break up with this woman, then you can't really hear God speak to you unless you're opening up. And part of opening up to God is doing what is right. A lot of the time I think we kind of underestimate how important it is to live a good moral life, especially in a relationship, because the other person, if you really desire their true good, then you won't be leading them to sin, right? So really talk about it, ask your priest in confession, talk to someone that you trust, and start to understand a bit more about those boundaries and helping the other person live a good life and helping yourself live a good life. It will totally help. And last but not least, the final point is don't over-spiritualize. So I think it's so important to have God first, like 100%. Do all of those things I just said, but don't make it the all and everything. Remember that at the foundation of a good relationship is a good friendship. And I think, especially as Catholics, sometimes we overlook that, especially when we're trying to find like a lifelong partner, and we're like continually thinking we need someone who's godly, we need a man. So you need a man who's godly, who has the same values as you, who has the same non-negotiables, like do you want to have kids in the future, or like all of those things that I think we often hear, but we forget about the friendship part. So part of a really good relationship that draws you and the other person and your relationship closer to God is one that is genuinely fun, that is genuinely amazing, that is genuinely brings you happiness, and genuinely, you could imagine yourself being with them for life. So part of dating is remembering that this person is someone that you're considering spending the rest of your life with. So dating is to find that future spouse. So part of that is finding your best friend, basically, which is so crazy. You'll totally start seeing how having a naturally good friendship will end up making you guys have a holier relationship as well. Good friends will naturally want to will the good of the other person, and they'll know when to say no. They'll be inclined in their heart and their desires to want to do what's right. So as long as you've got that mentality, then you're good to go. So like I mentioned earlier, naturally a good friendship will be a holy friendship, and it will lead to a relationship that is Christ-centered, that is one that will draw the other person closer to sainthood and closer to your own sainthood as well. So thank you so much for watching, everyone. I hope you really enjoyed that video and that you learnt something from it. Please look out for next week's video, which is going to be on a Friday, and keep your eyes peeled on Instagram as we've got some amazing content coming out this week. And share this video around, like and subscribe, do all of that jazzy stuff if you would like to. If you'd like to support Next Generation, that would mean so much to me, and I shall see you next Friday for our next video. Bye bye!